Now, even if you know there's a 15-year-old girl working in one of the salons I'm living near, right? I don't know which one you mean, right? Even if you meant the orchid after I went out there, right? You didn't tell me before I went out there was a 15-year-old girl working in the store and I shouldn't mess with her, right? Do you understand what I mean? If I went into the store and I asked her age and she said 37, that means she's legally old enough to do the job, period, right? Now, what I'm saying is I lost also an hour of time around her and am saying that's enough for me to have sex with her not just once, but 3 times or more, right? If we had sex or not, too, during our incursion with each other, right? I'm not saying we really did or didn't. I'm saying we could have during the hour where I felt I lost time around her, right? And the reason I know that is when I went out to the salon myself, I got in a little after 2 p.m. on a Saturday to see a movie that started at 3 or 3:10, right? The reason is my nail salon activity was taking about 40 minutes or so before I got to that salon, right? And I was asking the girls there the same questions I asked the girl there, right? Her name, her age, her where she was from, right? Whether it was she was Vietnamese or some other kind of Asian, right? You know what I mean, right? Did she go to college or high school or whatever her situation was, right? And none of it made me think she was lying about her age, right? Until I realized after I got out the store, I lost an hour of time, right? During the encounter with Michelle, which is what she told me her first name was, I don't even know her full name, first and last, either as well, right? I don't know no details about her before or after I went to the salon, right? Now, I do know when I went out there the third time to use the bathroom and went back to the store because I left my can of soup, she disappeared briefly, right? And then was back in the store because I went to get the soup, and then she was back in the store, and I got the soup, and then I went on back to the movie theater to watch a movie later on, right? Which again, I usually only go out right, without even going into that store normally. And it was only December 19th. In November and December, I actually got my nails done in it twice. Once was done by her, the second time was by an old elderly gentleman who I assume was the leaseor of the property, or the leasee, right? I'm not sure what's really going on either the whole time, right? I'm guessing why I lost the time with her the first time, why the dude wouldn't even let the other woman there do my nails, right? Which you was already him acting weird, right? But then I had to let him do my nails because he wouldn't let the woman there do my nails for some reason, right? And I don't know why that was either, right? And he did my nails in the normal 40 minutes of time, like before with the other girls, right? And again, usually women do that job and the male rents out the property, or leases the property that the nail salon is actually in, which is usually a strip mall or something, right? Well, that's the point. That's one of the nail salons I could go out near my home, right? Only. And all I know is it's called the Orchid, and I never went out there until that day, And I didn't have a problem in the other nail salons, just that one, right? hmm And I recall her answers to my questions of how old she was, right? and it was 37, right? She said her age was, unless she's lying to the police now and saying she told me she was 15, which is a lie. Mm-hmm. And I'm also, like I told her before, mentally ill as a result of my time in the Navy. I wasn't always mentally ill, by the way. It's not something genetic either. Right. It's something that happened because of stress from my shipmates and a new girlfriend and fasting and certain things, right? And praying to God if Jesus was real, things like that, right? And I heard a voice say, Jerusalem, 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 when we were in the Mediterranean Sea before we were anywhere near Israel. In fact, the port I heard it in was the island of Sicily, right? And I remember all the details of that too, right? And when I told the Navy I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia in 1993, which I'm also telling this idiot I'm mentally ill the whole time, and would ask the girl these questions anyway, right? If anyone was to approach me for sex, they have to be 16 or older in Georgia, and I told him that too, right? And I showed him how the age of consent in most states was 16, right? Though some, like California, Virginia, and New York, the age of consent is 18, right? But we were in Georgia, so again, right? at the time, in 2019, right? Now, this seems elaborate, anyway, if I'm a mentally ill person and the girl told me she was 37, but then he's telling me she was really 15, right? Meaning she lied about her age to me, right? And the problem is I lost some time around her, about an hour, right? Reason I know that is when I got out the salon, I was trying to see a movie before I went into the salon, and I should have been out within 40 minutes of going in, right? And I went in before after 2, right? Which is 2 p.m., right? And 10 minutes. Or what they call on the watch, 2:10 p.m., right? Is about the time I went to the salon anyway. For the first time, right? I got out at 10 to 4 instead of 10 to 3. Mm-hmm. And all I know is the girl I was in there with was trying to do my nails, right? And that we were doing the nails and I lost some certain amount of time around her too, right? Or I would have gotten out the salon sooner, right? Not later. And when I actually got out the salon, right, it was over an hour later than what it was supposed to be, right? Instead of getting out at 10 to 3, I got out 10 to 4, and it was still daylight savings time as well. Mm-hmm. Now, another problem we have is some states have a lower age of consent, like it or not, right? In Georgia, the age is 16. See, you don't like it that a 16-year-old can sleep with a 50-year-old man, but she can in Georgia, right? Now, like I told you, it don't mean I'm trying to sleep with a 16-year-old since I'm a 50-year-old man myself. I told you that, too. I don't know a girl's age. As soon as I meet them, one of the things I try to ascertain is her age, right? And even the girls in the theater could be teenagers. I'm not trying to have sex with them either. Because where are we going to do it? In the bathroom? Or an office? Which a theater has both too, by the way. An office or a theater, you might get it on it. Right. As would a nail salon, maybe, right? Depending on the nail salon, right? But I don't recall fully what happened with this girl who called herself Michelle, and I only knew her on a first name basis, not anything more than that either. So I don't even know if she gave me a fake name or a real name, even, right? And that was just the first time I met her as well. And all I'm trying to figure out is, did something more happen during the hour and why I forgot or can't quite remember what happened. Right? So again, some butthole before I met her and after I met her started telling me all this crap before I met her, right? Like I'm the one trying to sleep with a 15-year-old girl when I'm not, right? See, that's called entrapment anyway if she was 15 and not about her age, right? I'm not responsible for her even working in the salon because that's one of the things they don't want 15 years olds to be exposed to is adult men over 50, right? That's why she couldn't do that job. She might be exposed to an adult male, right? If you look at the hazardous job a 15-year-old girl can't do, one of the reasons she can't do that job is if she can't leave the premises during her time in the store. And if it's her father's store, he's not going to want her to leave the premises, right? So he can't legally work her in that job without special permission, right? From Georgia, not himself. Means he's got to file a petition for her to work there, right? With the state labor and the board of labor, whatever you call it, right? Whoever does that part of that job, right? For people to work that particular job, he had to file for her to work there, right? Well, if she had told me that, I shouldn't have lost the hour of time either, right? Unless I'm trying to make sure she's old enough to work the job, and then she's trying to maybe seduce me or something, which is why I might have lost the time as well. I'm not sure what happened. And I only went out to the salon itself twice in the month of November and then the month of December within a month of each other, right? Whatever following weekend it was, the first weekend in December, right? As well as the first weekend in November as well. I don't know. And both times I paid with the credit card, right? And left the tip, even for him, right? And the third time I just went in because I had to use the bathroom and was having transportation problems, right? So I was walking to the movie theater, right? And the store was still open, and I went in to use the bathroom real quick. Now, when I first went in, I didn't even see her, but when I went back, because I left my can of soup, she was suddenly in the store. So there must be an office area I'm not aware of, right? Or don't remember going to with her, if I went to it with her too, right? Well, if I'm in an office area with her, we have privacy there, right? And she's lying about what happened between us, right? That she was lying about her age and everything, and probably didn't have permission to do the job in 2019, right? Either, right? And may have tried to seduce me, right? So she wouldn't get in trouble herself, right? Which that changes the actual situation since I'm mentally ill, and I've also had no reason to doubt she was 37 either, right? Necessarily either, right? So she's apparently trying to entrap me because she was 15 and not supposed to work the job until she was 16, which is legal for her to do in the state of Georgia unless she's emancipating herself from her father, right? Which changes things as well. If she was, right? Also, there are broad rules about what kind of jobs a person can do in Georgia anyway, right? They don't say you can't work as a construction worker, but if you involve equipment like a backhoe or something, you can't do that job if you're 15, right? For example, right? And though it don't give what you can or can't do either, right? It don't give a specific job you can't do in any of the things. It just says you can't work with certain things, right? Now, it don't say you can't reheat something in the microwave, but you can't clean, for instance, if you work in a deli. You can't clean the slicer of the meat, for example, right? If you're 15, right? You just can't do that, right? You're not old enough yet, right? And they won't even let you touch the slicer, right? To clean it. Only someone 18 and older can do that, right? It's like working in a bar. I told him that too. You can be 18 and work in the bar, right? But you can't drink alcohol till you're 21, right? As well, even if you're working in the bar. It's kind of what I think happened with Kevin Spacey and the guy he was trying to hit on, right? He was working in the bar, but not legally able to drink yet, but yet Kevin may have bought him a drink thinking he was old enough and was kind of tipsy himself, right? Well, again. He can be 18 and work in the bar, but not drink alcohol till he's 21, right? That's the problem there, too, right? But there are, again, different folks for different strokes, is what I was taught, too, from the show Different Strokes, right? Even though I don't personally wear this kind of stuff myself, if people like Sam Smith want to dress this way, I don't tell them they can't, because they can, right? You can't stop them from putting on that craziness. and to me, it's just something I would never be caught dead in. Right? But if he wants to wear it, right? I can't do anything but tell him morally, according to the Bible, Moses says a man shall not wear things pertaining to a woman, right? Or a woman should not wear things pertaining to a man, right? And that's what the Bible says about it, right? If you make clothes for men or women, they're supposed to be specifically designed for the gender, right? Now that don't mean a woman can't wear pants or jeans made for a woman, right? Some people take that law too far, though, right? And say a woman can't wear pants. Well, are the pants fitted for a woman or a man? Right, that depends. That depends, right? The Bible ain't strict unless men make it strict, right? That's what Jesus was talking about on the Sabbath day when the disciples were picking corn, right? And the scribes and Pharisees were trying to stone them for doing so. And that's part of the problem, too. People confuse the Bible and put in the Bible the laws of men, right? Or rules of men, right? And that's what Jesus was talking about, too. They confuse the laws of God, which are about just taking a day off, right? Taking a rest. Now, it gives an example, unfortunately, of this Egyptian dude who picked up sticks and them having to go consult the Lord about it. And in the end, they wound up stoning the dude. But the irony is, if you stone him on the same day he did the sin, you got to pick up the rocks, which is a word too, by the way, and stone him, right? So that's kind of hypocritical, right? But there again, this in ancient Hebrew language, translated to the English. So maybe it's more of a moral tale about tyranny of the law. And making something a big deal that's not a big deal. Right. Is picking up a few sticks a stonable offense on the Sabbath day? That's what it's asking you, right? Should you pick up stones and stone him on the same day if he just picked up a few sticks? No. it's got a yes or no answer to it too, right? If you read it correctly, right? But you can also misread it because it's got to be interpreted into your language, right? That means you might have to fill in a few words here and there, right? Like the English has certain adjectives and pronouns and right things like that would better explain the story than what you find in the actual Hebrew, right? Which are just Hebrew words they're trying to translate into English, right? Well, that's why you all gotta study into the Hebrew, Greek, or even English itself to try and figure out what the man's saying, right? Why do you think I got all this stuff around my Bible? I got a concordance, I got a dictionary in Hebrew and Greek, right? Because a lot of people try to impose their own will and not necessarily the will of God in people's lives, right? That's a problem too, right? See, I don't know a 15-year-old girl, right? Anyone in my subdivision, right? That's 15, right? And even if there's children around me, I don't interact with them normally, right? I was taught not to, right? It don't matter if you think I would or not, right? I don't anyway. And what you're trying to do is accuse me of wanting to sleep with a 15-year-old girl when nobody knows someone age just by looking at them. You gotta ask them, right? So you're accusing me of thinking these thoughts that I tell you I don't even know what you're talking about, right? I wasn't taught you could do that with a child, is what I keep telling them, right? And they're using the fact that I heard voices of a religious nature and was diagnosed with a mental illness too to act like I would willingly try to sleep with an underage girl when I'm not, right? I don't know to do that either. But I also don't know a girl that's 15 and was working in a nail salon, right? Before I even went into that nail salon, right? And I damn sure ain't the one lying to her that I'm a, 15-year-old boy trying to get into the pants of a 15-year-old girl, right? I told her I was 50 and in the Navy and disabled veteran and all that, right? The person who did my nails who called herself Michelle, right? I don't even know her last name, right? But I have had women pick me up at the McDonald's and we went to their motel room and had sex the same day, right? I know. Because of what I read in the Bible about Hosea and Samson doing something similar, right? See, some people don't read the whole Bible and want to self-righteously pretend that the only thing that matters to them is what Paul said, right? Or someone else in the New, right? But Paul said a lot of things in the New, right? Sometimes he talks about this, that, or the other, but in the Old it says that Hosea was allowed to be with a harlot, which is the modern word for prostitute, from the King James Version of the Bible. Or what we also call a whore, right? Ish woman, right? Now, we're all under grace, right? Through faith, not of works, least any man should boast, right? So we can all make mistakes, but the thing is, right, you're to try to learn from your mistakes the best you can too, right? No, we're all human, right? Nobody's perfect, right? We're all told that too, right? All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, right? That's one of the things we're to try and work on every day is to try and do the right things, right? Because we don't know, right? But the right things are. So we got to learn the right things. All right, have a good day.